So, quick question. Why does Final Fantasy XIII start after the inciting incident? Inciting incidents are defined as events that hook the character, or in this case characters, into the main plot of the story. Video games aren't like movies or TV shows. They need to move quickly and be engaging enough to keep the player moving. So it's probably very tempting, if not straight up mandatory, to start the game on the inciting incident. However, people don't play JRPGs for the blistering pace. We're in it for the 60-hour long haul or bone-crushing difficulty. Sometimes both. When you take away the word salad names and lore vomit and ham-fisted references to Final Fantasy VII, 13 is actually a fairly cohesive story. So for those of you who haven't played, let me explain. Lightning is a part of the Guardian Corps, aka she's a policewoman with a sword. On her birthday, like a scene-stealing bitch, her sister announces that she's getting married, and that she's marked by another planet, which makes her an alien. Lightning naturally reacts poorly.
Worst birthday ever.
Sarah runs away, gets found by the fantasy police, and this causes a panic because this means that Sarah is contaminated, and the contamination will spread. The government launches a full-scale effort to get rid of anyone who could have come into contact with her. Eventually, Lightning comes to her senses. She goes to rescue her sister and ropes in a fellow traveler in the process, which is Saz. Unfortunately, Sarah's fiancé also has the exact same idea, but his idea is to build a militia against the police, and a lot of people die in the process, including a woman named Nora. She had a son named Hope, who holds him directly responsible for his mother's death, because, well, he is. Hope then meets Vanille, who's just looking to get the hell out of there. Naturally, these people meet while trying to get out of this place. However, they anger the same god that marked Sarah, and they are also marked for death. Now, be honest, did anybody pick that up in the first 2 hours of the game? Because I sure as hell didn't. Honestly, I had no idea what was going on, and the final boss of the area kept kicking my ass. All the names sounded the same, and none of the names made sense. The game was so dependent on Lightning being a badass that they don't pay attention to basic storytelling or explaining things. Okay, sure, melodramatic lore dumps aren't fun, but neither is not knowing anything. Why is everyone named after weather? What do the crystals mean? What's a lassie? What's a fal'Cie? Why do these names sound the same? And how the hell am I supposed to know the difference? Why do I care? Spoiler alert, they don't care that you don't care. Here's a joke for you. A soldier and a black guy hijack a train. Have you heard this one before? That's because Squeenix still clings to Final Fantasy VII like a 40-year-old high school quarterback to his past glories. Not to say that the new Final Fantasy VII remake won't be amazing, because god, look at it, it's gorgeous. But there's a reason why Final Fantasy VII was so famous. It managed to set a tone and a precedent, and they managed to do it without whatever this is. Final Fantasy XIII starts with characters at their absolute lowest, with no investment in who they are in the first place. You can't force someone to care about a character just because they're sad. It comes off as insincere, and honestly, not a great start to what is essentially a glorified hallway. There's no reason 13 needed to be told with narration, or flashbacks for that matter. The flashbacks that don't feature Fang and Vanille don't really add anything to the story. We know Lightning and Snow love Sarah. We know Saz has been separated from his son. None of the flashbacks really hold any revelations or important plot points other than Fang and Vanille came out of a crystal one day. So, if that's the case, and bear with me, being branded a lassie is not the inciting incident in this story. The Purge is. Without the Purge, none of these characters would be together. Not even Lightning and Snow. Hope's mother wouldn't have died, and they wouldn't be on the hanging edge in the first place. Sarah would have become a Seath, and the story would have just ended there with Lightning never seeing Sarah again. So, instead of the hanging edge, let's start this story at Uriday Gorge, with Fang as the playable character. Enter Fang and Vanille. They talk about lore stuff and just generally being amazed at the world around them. This automatically gives you the idea that they're probably not from here. They try to smash the fal'Cie, battle tutorials ensue, Dodge appears, gets cursed. Fang tells Vanille to run. As she's going up the elevator, just before she disappears entirely, she sees Saz and Fang squaring up to fight, which would have been awesome, by the way, and I don't know why it's not in the game. Yet I digress. That means we get to see the Purge happening in real time in all of its horrifying and visceral detail. Let's start with the fireworks festival. Vanille can be seen praying. Sarah walks by and they have that scene where they talk and Vanille gives her that super awkward hug. Vanille can ask something like, "Are you going to tell her tonight?" Sarah will say she's scared. Vanille provides naive encouragement. Once again, awkward hug. Then we cut to Lightning. her and her captain, which I think in Lightning Returns or 13-2, his name was Captain Amadar, which is a stupid name, but yet, once again, I digress. She talks about her birthday, and she's about to get a promotion. Before he dismisses her, though, they receive a special alert. So that way, we can cut to Dodge and Saz. Dodge was supposed to be there to watch the fireworks, but he senses things from Pulse. He and Dodge are separated, and while Snow is proposing to Sarah, they are interrupted by the alert. Same thing with Hope and his mom. They're just watching the fireworks, and the alert goes off. Someone's found something from Pulse. That's when shit goes down. Everyone starts running and screaming. Hope probably sees a SciComm guy manhandle his mother and cracks him over the head with the nearest thing he can find. A big souvenir boomerang. And can I just say, there are a lot of stupid weapons in JRPGs. The boomerang is like number 5. And right next to Lulu's dolls, okay? And listen, don't at me, it's stupid. After some exploration and some story battles, Lightning and her crew, which I believe were called the Blitz team in Final Fantasy XIII 2, and you know, I always thought it would be cool for someone to call out Lightning like, oh, you traitor, you betrayed the Guardian Corps, you betrayed SciComm, but that never happens. I think they only get like a footnote mention in 13-2 DLC, which is just wild to me, but whatever. Either way, they search for the l'Cie and they find out that it's Sarah. Cue emotion. SciComm ignores Lightning's pleas and fires on Sarah, who shows some awesome l'Cie power to protect herself. She probably summons an Eidolon or something, or an Eidolon, because that's how it's actually pronounced, or, you know, whatever, magic, and hella battle ensues. Snow scoops her up and the motorcycle scene happens. Lightning helplessly watches as Sarah gets swallowed by the fal'Cie. She sees Saz standing on the beach, and he's pretty conspicuous, because he's the only one not running. The next morning, Snow immediately starts gathering troops, friends and neighbors, everyone who wants their loved ones back, including Nora. This way, Lightning, Saz, and Snow, and by extension Hope, who will most likely be mentioned by his mother. I always thought it would be funny that they would meet Nora and she would talk about her son Hope as if he's some great hero, as if he's so strong and brave, and they'll be like, oh man, I can't wait to get them on our side. And it turns out he's like some little kid, but I don't know. I think that would just get him more hate than he already got. I mean, give him a break, guys. His mom just died. Jesus. Anyways, this would lead to so much banter, I think. Like, with Lightning and Snow going back and forth when they still had hope that Sarah would be alive, and, you know, Saz being like, oh god, I'm surrounded by dumb kids. Nora, please, you're like the only sanity I have. And it would be so much worse when Nora dies. And you get to see Snow and Lightning's relationship devolve into the arguing and the punching, and it doesn't seem as petty because you care more. But yet, I digress. I'm getting very, very worked up. But you see what I mean? It lacks typical story progression. You're just thrown into it with like, here, care about these people. They're arguing in a moment where they should stick together, and we're not going to explain why. And listen, I know this doesn't fix 13's flaws, because I can make a whole nother video on how turn-based combat isn't dead, and I love it. However, this fixes one of the biggest narrative issues in what's otherwise, honestly, an amazing story. The characters in this game have such dynamic development. Yes, even Hope, and you can fight me on that. Opening a story with characters already at their lowest is a bold move, but it's almost impossible to do well, and honestly, entirely too risky when a decades-long franchise is at stake.